Om Tat Sat. Jai Guru. For some days, in the evening satsang, I have been taking some verses from Ashtavakra Samhita. It is called Ashtavakra Gita also. It consists of altogether 20 chapters. It's a conversation between King Janaka and sage Ashtavakra. King Janaka is a distinguished knower of truth even today as far as seekers of truth are concerned. While he was a Raja, he was also a great knower. Even Shuka Maharshi, Vedavyasa Maharshi, Vedavyasa Dev sent to Janaka's palace in order to learn and complete his knowledge of the self. So he is an illustrious person. Generally the knowers are whole-time ascetics, but in the case of Janaka, he was sitting on the throne, and while being a king, he became an illustrious knower. Ashtavakra Samhita is a text where the subject of self-realization and the outcome of self-realization, namely the resultant benefits for the individual concerned, are discussed from various angles. And from the discussion we have made, especially with regard to some relevant verses, all of you must have known that it is not so much what you believe in that matters. On the other hand, it matters fully what do you do with such a belief? How does the belief act in your mind, in your intelligence, in your character, behavior and interaction? There may be a devotee of God, he may be going to the temple. What of it? At least that much he does, so he is good. But by going to the temple, by becoming a devotee, by worshipping the Lord, what is the net effect on his mind, which is the source of all activities and interactions, which is also the terminus of all activities and interactions? What are the effects we want to produce in the mind? The mind should become pure, it should become transparent. All the dross, all the blemish, all the stain of the mind should become, they should be dropped. Like pure crystal water, the mind also should become absolutely sattvic. The sattvic mind is known to generate confidence, nobility, expansion, great magnificence, kindness, liberality, resourcefulness, unyielding faith in oneself as well as in the world. All these are the qualities of a pure mind. Do you have them? While you live in this world, you will have to interact with various factors like persons, places and events. Is your mind capable of doing it, or does it find confrontation, discomfiture, difficulty and stifling? The human society will always consist of a variety of people. Some will be good, some will be bad, some will be wicked, some will be notorious. None of them should be able to rob your peace and well-being. How to reinforce the mind to have that kind of flexibility and expansion so that it will be able to assimilate all kinds of variety the society is. Maybe you have a child who himself is not up to your expectations. Maybe you have a married partner who is not fully compatible with you. Maybe when you look at your own parents, you are not very happy with all the facets of their personality. Whether it is in your family or the society at large, which is the larger family of which you are equally a member, it makes no difference. If I am good, the problem is not solved. All people should become good, then only I am happy. But it will never be. So what if some people are bad? It is just like myself becoming bad. So I have to coexist with the bad people. What is that factor which will enable you to do so? Why I am mentioning it? We may have devotion, we may have spirituality, you may pursue religion, you may pursue any other system of thought or process. What matters is how the pursuit brings about changes and correction in your mind, intelligence, character, behavior and interaction. This is the important point. Ashtavakra Samhita looks at the whole subject from various angles and it presents the truth. The truth remains the same, but the presentation has got different grounds, different insights. This is one point I thought I should explain to you so that you know it. Every time the focus, so far as you are concerned, should be your mind. And the focus should imply what? There must be progressive enrichment for the mind. No matter what the day is and how you spend it, the day should have been enriching. It should be enriching to you and also enriching to the world so far as your performance or contribution is concerned. What is this enrichment? It is greater well-being, greater expansion, greater inclusion in your mind of more and more people and the world at large. Then you must have elevated level of thinking, always becoming benevolent, being good to the others. In place of selfishness, you should have selflessness. In place of possessiveness, you must become dispossessive. Instead of being egotistic, you should become humble, and you should be given to ego effacement. These are very simple and beautiful qualities. One thing is there, no stealth is possible either in religion or in devotion or in spirituality or philosophy. What do I mean by that? You may say, I am good. That saying will never be all right. If you are not good, your statement will victimize you. Some situation will come whereby the truth will be exposed. So you cannot delude yourself to think it is so, it is not so, unless you are mentally out of order. Devotion is such a beautiful item. It's such a beautiful pursuit. Spirituality is even more so. Religiousness equally so. Philosophy definitely so. Such a beautiful pursuit. I always consider bhakti to be a treasure. But alas, nobody is able to make it a treasure. They are satisfied by chanting the name of God, by visiting a few temples, once in a year or once in a month or once in a week, and they come away. You are living for 24 hours of the day, and visiting a temple or doing a prayer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes out of 24 hours of the day. Every day you will climb 1 foot but fall 15 feet. This is what will happen. So our methodology should be such that my devotion will become extensive and wholesome. As I feel in the matter of going to the temple, so I should feel in the matter of going to the market or going to the professional friend and doing my work. Why don't you extend your devotional orbit, devotional prevalence, to cover the whole activity of the day? This should be your outlook. I think there is no stealth possible here at all. The mind has to become pure. You have to become truthful. You have to become righteous. You have to become loving, amiable, kind, considerate, sacrificing, and all that. I think it is such a beautiful item. I don't know why people are not able to either absorb it or they are reluctant to hear about it. Such a beautiful item. Arjuna was a great hero, had done a number of wars. In spite of it, he was not able to fight when he came to the battlefield. when Krishna instilled in him that exclusive note of devotion, whereby his mind became suddenly pure and intelligence became clear, Arjuna was able to fight the war. But for Krishna's instruction, he would have been still in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, not fighting. So I think it is something very good. Until you are able to understand it to be good, sweet and delicious, I don't think you are anywhere near bhakti. Bhakti is so nourishing, so enriching a treasure. You have to make it a treasure. Hari Om Tats Jai Guru.